So one who performs an action free of attachment without speaking of one's self-worth, who works with determination and energy, who is unchanged in success or failure, is a person who acts according to Sattva. We are here to do our work. We just want to serve Maharaji's prasad. We want to serve Ram prasad and do good in the world and help people and feed people and serve. That is what we focus on, the service. Hello, Ram Ram. How are you? Happy New Year. Thank you to everyone who's been on this journey. It's been a year. We wanted to finish in a year. I think we're 1 week over, so we're nearly there. The entire reading of the Gita. I'm going to finish Gita today, and we'll definitely be launching more satsangs in different ways and experimenting with how best to bring people together to explore sacred texts and I really appreciate everyone who's been on this journey so far. We're going to go straight in today because we've got quite a lot of material to cover, and we may go slightly over. So forgive me in advance. So the first thing, if we're going, we're about midway through this, and and we're still really exploring the gunas. So I'm looking at verse 26, and we're looking at where Krishna is describing various different types of guna and what they do. What are the gunas? How do they work? And what is our relation as a performer to the qualities of the gunas? And for those of you who haven't been in previous lessons, the gunas are certain qualities that we have, certain types of nature that is within every one of us. There's three gunas: sattva, rajas, and tamas. Sattva is the mode of purity and truthfulness and goodness. Rajas is the mode of passion and desire, um, vitality. And tamas is the mode of ignorance, laziness, slothfulness. And we have all of these three gunas within each one of us in varying degrees of qualities, and they make up the universe. They're like the um, qualities, um, the molecular structure, just like we have electrons, protons, and neutrons. In physics, this is the nature of a personality, nature of a being, nature of um, one's virtue and character that defines guna, quality. So one who performs an action free of attachment without speaking of one's self-worth, who works with determination and energy, who is unchanged in success or failure, is a person who acts according to Sattva. We are here to do our work. We just want to serve Maharaji's prasad. We want to serve Ram prasad and do good in the world and help people and feed people and serve. That that is what we focus on, the service. Sometimes things go good. It's okay, very nice. Sometimes things go bad. It's not perfect, but let us smile, let us turn up again, let us show up and try to do good things. Um, so that's sattva. Rajas, one who is full of attachment, desiring the fruits of action alone, who is greedy, injurious, unclean, filled with joys and sorrows, fluctuating, is a person who acts according to passion, desire, rajas. So a person who acts, in the first verse, Krishna is telling us, who's acting out of attachment, who's not doing it for themselves, but the bigger self, for the divine, for the whole, acting for the welfare of the world, acts with energy and determination. Hanuman serves like Hanuman. That is sattva. If somebody's fluctuating, enjoys something greatly, and they just acting out of personal sense of desire and taste, then greedy, injurious. They just want to win for their team and their country or their people or their personal wealth, then they're acting largely out of rajas. One who is inattentive, vulgar, stubborn, deceitful, dishonest, despondent, procrastinating. This is all tamasic behavior, according to Krishna. Do we know a few people like that? Please don't name them. But we might all know some people who have tamas. In fact, I'm quite tamasic at times. I woke up at 5 a.m. this morning to write my book, Be Yourself. And then I was feeling very tamasic. I was like, I'm not energetic and sattvic in service. I want to put the TV on at 5 o'clock in the morning and not sit and write Upanishads and write that work. It's too cold outside. I want to get under the blanket and just be lazy and have a coffee and relax rather than go and sit up in the cold office and in the dark start writing Upanishads at 5:30 in the morning. Doesn't feel good. I want to just relax. And we all have tamas, rajas, and sattva in us to varying degrees, but Krishna's giving us that ladder to approach. How should we understand these gunas? Well, I'm just sorry, there's a few in the waiting room. How should we understand the nature of these gunas? O conqueror of wealth. Arjuna is described as the conqueror of wealth. Listen, as I explain how understanding and determination are also characterized in the three gunas. So, how do we understand things in the world? The understanding that knows when to act and when not to act. When the understanding that knows what is to be done and what is not to be done, that knows what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, that knows what is binding to the world and what is liberating to the world, is the nature of sattva. It's quite difficult, I think, to have that understanding. If you're Krishna, maybe it's easy, but for us mere mortals, how do we know what is the right thing to do versus the wrong thing to do? How do we know what is to be feared and what is not to be feared? Who is going to cheat us in life? Who's going to, you know, sell us something that didn't was a real thing or it wasn't a real thing. I remember once at university, someone on the street tried to sell me a laptop, and me being the naive student said, "Oh, okay, it's half the price of the real one." I said, "Okay, I'll buy that." And then, he went in the shop, he took my money, and then he never came back. Walked out the back door and ran away. That me being naive and silly and foolish, or was it, his cleverness? I don't know. I think truly the highest point, Krishna only can know sattva, Ram only knows sattva. We as mortals have to walk the path of the heart and try our best to move towards sattva. I personally feel, this is my own personal view, that sattva is known only to the heart and to God. Ultimately, yes, we must aspire to it, but true stainless purity of sattva is known only by Krishna in non-duality, in purely non-dual existence, in pure spirit, Satchitananda. That's where true sattva exists. Otherwise, here in the human body, we will have some element of the gunas um, included. The understanding that cannot distinguish the difference between dharma and adharma, and between that which is to be done and that which is not to be done, is rajasic. So one who treats dharmic activity as adharmic, that cannot choose, like what is a dharmic choice here, is considered rajasic. The understanding that considers adharma as dharma and dharma as adharma sees all things contrary to the truth and is covered by ignorance and is the nature of tamas. I think this for some countries, not naming them, but we all know what we're talking about. Like in this moment of the world where the climate is so bad, where deforestation is so bad, where wildlife is being destroyed, where you know pollution is at record levels, and the polar ice caps are melting, and water is rising, and sea life is being destroyed to great degrees. There's soon forecast to be more plastic in the ocean than fish. Um, in that kind of environment to turn away from the environmental progress or the movement or the global movement towards more environmental understanding and action seems crazy to me. It seems you speak of dharma, but really it's adharma, what we're doing. So it's completely opposite to what should be dharmic action. I think sometimes some political uh, movement at the moment is go adharmic, completely opposite to what we're trying to promote in the world. Um, okay, determination and the three gunas. That determination which upholds the activities of the mind, the vital breath, and the senses by steadfast discipline is characterized as sattva. That determination which one holds to dharma, enjoyment and wealth, dharma, artha, and kama, with the aim to secure the fruits of labor, is rajas. But that determination by which the foolish cannot let go of sleep, fear, sorrow, despondency, pride, is the nature of Tamas. So determination, our desire to act in the world and how we should act. If we think about determination again here, it's interesting. Sattva is aligned with vital breath, prana, as well as discipline, good action. Yeah. So that determination for me describes a yogi. And in fact, the term is yogina vya biracharinya. So it's actually yoga. A yogi will be upholding the activities of the mind, balanced, disciplined, acting constantly for the welfare of the world, not moving the mind in all directions, and not driven by pleasure senses, not material senses, but driven for acting out of a greater cause. Okay, happiness and the three gunas. The happiness that a person enjoys after a long practice that leads to the cessation of suffering, that in the beginning is like poison, but in the end is like nectar, is the nature of sattva. It arises from the serenity that comes from the perception of the soul. I love that. The sattvic happiness is arises from the serenity that comes from the perception of the soul. Again, also Krishna says that this takes work. It takes a lot of discipline to become an athlete. It takes a lot of discipline to learn to run a marathon or to meditate for a long period. If we just meditate for 3 hours today after not even practicing for 5 minutes, we might find it extremely difficult. And Krishna will say here that this happiness is enjoyed after long practice and it leads to the cessation of suffering. But in the beginning, it can be feeling almost like poison. A lot of bad things can pop up when we start meditating and practicing the Dharma. Okay, the happiness that arises from the contact of the senses and the world, that in the beginning feels like nectar, but in the end is like poison, is regarded as happiness characterized by Raja. So almost opposite. Sattvic will feel hard. Oh, it's too cold. We don't want to go out and serve today. We don't want to do this important work, take care of all of these people in the care home. I'm tired today. I want to stay home. I'm not going in. I have to just stay here. But instead, the work, the continuation of planting the seeds of Dharma come out as the cessation of suffering in the end. And and in opposite, Rajasic happiness is derived just from sense consumption. As we know, we consume something, we get a short high, and then we come down. Happiness from Tamas is self-deluding happiness in the beginning and in the end. It arises from sleep, idleness, and intoxication. This is all the nature of tamas. There are no beings on earth or even amongst the gods in heaven that are free from the three gunas born of Prakriti. Nice verse again. They're re-emphasizing that these gunas are in all of us. If somebody tells you that they're pure sattva, that they have achieved that state, but they're still here, maybe think again. Like be wary of such a person. I think Nick would always guide us to be wary of such people. Okay, now we go to what we would today consider the Varna system. And I think it's quite nice because, Hinduism is often gets a bad rap for the caste system. In many ways, it has been a great blot on the society of India in the way that, Dalits have been treated, in the way that, certain temple, I can conceive that some people can't walk down a certain road or they can't do this or something. But when we look to the Gita, we see a different idea. And over thousands of years, that has gone in a different direction in some places. But here, when I look to the Gita, Krishna dispels that. The Gita dispels that for me, that this actually is not, it's a misunderstood concept. So I will talk about the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and the Shudras. What are they? And here in this line in verse 41, Krishna says, they are distinguished according to the gunas arising from their inner natures. So each one of us has a nature. Now, the type of work we will do in the world will be a result of our nature towards that work. So one who is calm, self-controlled, uh, austere, purity, patience, honest, interested in learning, wisdom, spiritual faith, good actions. These are considered sattvic, but also Brahminical in nature. They have good inner nature, that they want to do good things in the world. I often speak to some of you here, I won't name names, but you have that desire in your heart. I want to be in satsang. I want to serve people. I want to feed people. I want to do events that heal people and create. Meets always saying, I want to have more satsang. I want to bring people together and help people, and kind of that's very like this, according to that her nature is according to that direction, and has calmness, self-control, peace, pleasure, honest. Okay, then heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, steadfastness in battle, generosity, leadership. These are Kshatriya in nature. Leaders, the Kshatriyas are the leaders of society that will organize political, like, kind of, they have to work in that way. And then agriculture, cow protection, trade. These arise from the inner natures of Vaishya, business, service to society and others is born of the inner nature of the Shudra. And that's all it says. A person who is content in one's particular duty achieves perfection. Through the performance of prescribed duties, mankind can achieve perfection by worshipping the One who is the source of all beings, this and who pervades this entire universe. Yata pravratir bhutanam yena sarvam idam tatam svakarmana tam abhyache siddhim vindanti mana manavaha. Again, through through performing our duties in the world, performing our work, one can achieve perfection by offering it all up to God. Better to perform one's own duties imperfectly than to perform somebody else's duties perfectly. For one never incurs sin performing duties according to your nature. Doing the work you feel called to do, that your inner being wants to do. Um, Even if you do that work imperfectly, then you are doing your dharma. You're doing good in the world, according to the Gita. One whose mind is unattached in all circumstances, who is self-controlled and without desire, achieves the highest perfection of work, namely freedom from reaction. O son of Kunti, having obtained perfection, now listen as I tell you how you can attain Brahman, which is the highest state of knowledge. This is it. We get the final teachings of the Gita here. How do you attain Brahman finally? Okay, the one who is endowed with a pure intellect, who controls the mind with determination, who has abandoned attachment to the objects of the senses, who lives without passion or hatred, who exists in solitude, eating simply, who restrains body, mind, and speech through meditation, who seeks renunciation and exists without a sense of I am the doer, is a yogi. Such a soul is free from harshness, pride, desire, anger, possession, and proprietorship. Such a person is peaceful and is qualified for the state of Brahman. One who attains Brahman becomes serene. One who has attained Brahman and who has become serene neither laments nor desires, being equiposed to all. Such a yogi obtains unalloyed devotion to me. Para bhakti, the word in the Gita, we don't come across this phrase often. Para bhakti is the supreme or the great bhakti, is one where you're doing it from a place of equanimity and equal mindedness towards the conditions of the world, but you're still able to remain a stable source of presence for those of us around us. Think of somebody in need trying to hug you, but you are not still yourself. Your arms keep going up and down. And if you are going up and down with the world, then you can't be a stable source for others. So to attain a sense of equanimity and balance is important, because people will get angry at us, people will show us great love, but we can't be swayed by that. We must be attached to the hook of the heart in devotion to God doing our work so that we don't get moved by it. Through such devotion, one who knows the truth of my greatness at once enters my nature. Mam visate tad anantaram. Anantaram literally means enters into me. Enters into me. Through such devotion, one who knows the truth of my greatness at once enters my nature. Though performing all kinds of activities, they're doing so many different things in the world, ever trusting me, ever trusting God. For me, ever trusting Ram. Let Ram do the work. Though performing all kinds of activities, ever trusting God, such a person, by my grace, by God's grace, attains the eternal, unperishable abode, which is Brahman. Tato mam tatvato gyanto visate tad anataram. So Krishna says the words mat prasadad, that it's through his grace that this happens, that one is able to lift oneself up into that state. Okay. Chetasha sarvakarmani mai sanyasya matparaha buddhi yogam upasritya macchitta satatam bhava cheta sarvakarmani mai sanyasya matparaha buddhi yogam upasritya macchitta satatam bhava. Mentally dedicate all of your actions to me. Become devoted to me. And with a disciplined mind, think of me. It's all offered to God. Mentally dedicate all of your actions to me. Become devoted to me. And with a disciplined mind, think of me. Macchitta sarva durgani mat prasadat tarisyasi ata chetvam akankaran nashroyasya vinakshasi. With mind fixed on me, I promise you will cross all difficulties by my grace through God's prasad. You fix your mind on God, you offer everything you do to God, and through my grace you will cross all difficulties. Now, if through the ego you fail to listen, surely you will suffer. Driven by the ego, if you think, I will not fight, I will not do this, your intention is mistaken, and your very nature will force you to fight. O son of Kunti, he's speaking to Arjuna here specifically with regards to his decision not to fight or to fight on the battlefield. You are bound by the actions that are determined by your very nature. Out of maya, out of illusion, you wish to avoid those things that you will be forced to do all the same. God, as the controller, Arjuna, is situated within the heart of every living being, and by the divine power directs the movements who are of all creatures who are on this journey with us. O descendant of Bharata. I love this word. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hriday se Arjuna titastati. Ishvara means God, the Lord. Sarva bhutanam, all living beings. Sarva is all bhutanam, living beings. Hriday se, in the heart. God is in the heart of every living being. Verse 61. O descendant of Bharata, O Arjuna, with your whole being, take exclusive shelter of the One. Shelter, take shelter. These verses from 57 up to 62, all I can see is Ramdas saying, surrender, 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 surrender. Offer it all up to God. Offer it all up to God. It's God. Ram, 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 Ram. Surrender, surrender, surrender. O descendant of Bharata, with your whole being, with everything, give exclusive shelter of that one, by whose grace you will attain the eternal abode of supreme peace. Offer it all up to God. Verse 63, one of my favorite verses of the Bhagavad Gita. Iti te jnanamakyatam guyat guyataram maya vimrishyetadaseseno yatha ichasi tata kuru. After speaking such profound words on surrendering everything we do to God, Krishna says, Arjuna, now I've taught you this supreme wisdom. It is more mysterious than any mystery. Deliberate upon it fully and do whatever you want. Act according to your desire, your free will. Act as you see fit. Listen once again to these supreme words, the most secret of all secrets. Arjuna, because you are so dear to me, I am speaking them for your benefit. Always think of me. Always think of God. Become my devotee. Worship me and offer respects to me. In this way, you will truly come to me. This I promise you, because you are very dear to me. Relinquish all forms of dharma, everything, and seek refuge in me alone. I will free you from all wrongdoing. Do not fear. Sarva dharman parityaga mam ekam sarvanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshasyami masukchaha. Nick uses an interesting line for this verse. He says, I will moksha you. Krishna says to us, I will moksha you. Surrender everything. You think you can become enlightened? Just give it all up to God and make every single thing you do in your life an offering to God. That is the way that Krishna gives us liberation. Relinquish all forms of effort, of work in the world, and just surrender to God. I will free you from everything, all suffering, all wrongdoing. Do not fear. Okay, that verse is actually considered the most quoted of all Bhagavad Gita shlokas. This is verse 66 of chapter 18, Sarva Dharma. It is called the Charama Shloka, of the highest of the Gita shlokas. The first word of the Bhagavad Gita begins with the word dharma, and there we define dharma as that which holds the world together. It was Arjuna's dharma to fight. It is the teacher's dharma to teach. It is the child's dharma to respect and obey the parents. Thus, every aspect of society is governed by dharma. Yet here, for a higher purpose, we ask to give up dharma. If by doing so we incur some wrongdoing, we are told that God will protect us. Sarva dharman means giving up adharma as well. Ultimately, this verse is saying that the highest dharma is love for God. Maharaji said nothing actually truly exists here apart from love for God. So even if we are doing something good for another being, that is actually service to God. That is devotion to God. Interesting. 67. Who is qualified to hear this message? Who should hear the Gita? Who should be taught this Gita? I might rethink the Gita sessions after reading this verse of who's allowed to come. You must never utter the most secret wisdom to one who is devoid of devotion or austerities or who is envious of God. I'm in trouble. One who declares the supreme mystery to my devotees, who cultivates unalloyed devotion, will come to me without a doubt. Amongst mankind, there is no one more dear to me than the person, nor in the future, nor in the future shall there be any another more dear to me. One who studies this sacred dialogue, worships me through the sacrifice of their mind and knowledge. This is my judgment. A person of faith who is without envy, who is simply hearing the teachings with a good heart, becomes liberated and attains the realms of the pious. O conqueror of wealth, have you heard this with a concentrated mind? Have you, Krishna's kind of playing with Arjuna here. Have you been listening? Have you been concentrating here while I've taught you all of this Gita? Oh, conqueror of wealth, have you heard this with a concentrated mind? Has your illusion due to ignorance gone away? Interesting verse. Again, I just want to share about Ramanuja again. I've shared it earlier a few months ago, but when Ramanuja Acharya received the mantra from his guru told him not to teach the mantra to anybody. And so Ramanuja received his name, his blessing, his initiation, and he received the mantra Om Namo Narayana, Om Namo Narayana. And Guru said, don't teach this mantra to anybody. It's a secret. It will give liberation. It will give you moksha. But when a guru takes on a devotee, it is said that they take on the karma of that person or that being. So they are quite careful to only share that wisdom with the right people who have a sattvic or a good heart. They are leaning towards dharma, spirituality, open-heartedness, happiness and love, compassion. Then they are fit for that teaching. And so he told him not to tell anyone. So the first thing Ramanujacharya does is he receives the mantra, he runs to the top of the mountain, climbs to the roof of the temple, and starts screaming the mantra to the whole village. Om Namo Narayana, Om Namo Narayana. And the Guru says, what are you doing? You've just like gone against the first teaching. And he said, I am ready to suffer in hell for lifetimes if it means even a single one of these beings out there can become liberated from this mantra that you've just taught me. And same with Ramdas, Maharaji told him, don't tell anybody about me. And what does he do? As soon as he gets to America, on one of Ramdas's tour, he gave 161 talks in a row on one tour. Just going speaking about. So he said, Maharaji told me not to speak about him, and it's the only thing I've done ever since I met him. And I see some of that Ramanuja sharing. There's nothing else he can do after he has that. So it's interesting that Krishna shares this to Arjuna here because it's almost like don't speak about it to certain people, but one who really has that open-heartedness will want to speak about it and share it with everyone. Like if it's truly something beautiful and, the knowledge of love and compassion, the knowledge of the Gita, the knowledge of spirituality is to be shared because it is one heart ultimately. So who can you not share it with if you ultimately realize that we're all one family? Who can you not share it with? Like who is the other? There is no other. Um, have you heard this with a concentrated mind? Has your illusion due to ignorance been destroyed? Arjuna responds. Arjuna has not spoken for a long time. He comes in. O infallible one, Achyutam, Achyuta. infallible one, by your mercy, by your grace, my illusion is now destroyed and my memory has been restored. I am fixed and my doubts are all dispelled. I will carry out your words. I will live the Bhagavad Gita. That's Arjuna's last words in the Bhagavad Gita. Is, I will live the Gita. In one of my favorite Gita books, talks on the Gita by Vinoba Bhave. In the beginning, he says, I live in the air of the Gita. And my wish is that each one of you will live in the air of the Gita, that you have that Gita as your breath, um, and you breathe the verses in and out, and the understanding of oneness and service and sattva. Now Sanjaya speaks. We go back to the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, right at the beginning. Remember, this is a conversation between Sanjaya, the guide to the blind king Dhritarashtra, the father of Duryodhana and the Kauravas. Sanjaya says, thus I have heard the wonderful conversation between the son of Vasudeva and the great soul, the soul, Arjuna. There's a sign there. Vasudeva and the soul, the Atman and Brahman. My hair is tingling on ends, Sanjay said after listening to this. By the grace of Vyasa, I have heard the supreme secret of yoga. Vyasa Prasada, from Vyasa's Prasad, Guhyam Aham Param, the great mysterious secret of yoga, spoken by Krishna himself. O King, I am thrilled at every moment, remembering this sacred and wonderful conversation between Keshava and Arjuna. As I repeatedly remember the extraordinary form of Hari, it's Krishna, it's Ram, I am amazed. O King, I am thrilled again and again. Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all yoga, and wherever there is Arjuna, the holder of the bow, there is sure to be fortune, victory, prosperity, and dharma. That is my opinion. Shri Krishna Kanaya Lala Ki Jai. That is the last verse 78 of Bhagavad Gita. Last words spoken by Krishna is verse 72 of chapter 18. Last words of Arjuna is 73, and then 5 verses of Sanjaya to end and finish the Bhagavad Gita. Guyat, Guyat, mysterious wisdom. Guyat is the mysterious wisdom. Okay, Ram Ram. Take care. Much love, everyone. Thank you.